Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
As you can see, I'm here with a group of fellow TYPO3 enthusiasts, and we're kicking this long day with the place of the world that is, or places in the world that are very far for us at the moment. We used to sit maybe and go to the airport and just sit some hours in an airplane and woof. So what we thought would be good is to actually take those nice folks and put them in a video call and have them with us. So thanks for joining us. I have Nitin from India. I have Stevo from New Zealand, and I have Simon from the land down under, where the women glow and the men chunder, Simon Dawes. Nitin, can you tell us something about yourself? Who are you? Where are you?
Yes,
what do you do?
Yes.
Stuff like that. So
sure. Before I start my introductions, I really would like to thank you, first of all, organizing this wonderful event, because I feel very excited and interested that lots of my TYPO3 friends are here. Apart from the pandemic, they are safe and healthy. So first of all, I would like to thank you to Daniel, Sana, Olivier, to you as well for this organizing this event and giving us chance to coming back to in connection with the whole TYPO3 friends. Really happy to see everyone are safe and they are all very well. Now start with my introductions. Myself, Nitin Chauhan. I am a CEO and a founding director of Nitsan Technologies Private Limited. We are from a vibrant culture and festival land from India. Okay, we are mostly dealing with the open source solutions. Me and my friends, Mr. Sanjay, you can spot me and Sanjay over there in the back frame. That's the photo frame of the TYPO3 award of 2018. We have together we co-ventured the Nitsan Technologies Private Limited in 2011. It's basically dealing with the open source solutions, mostly the CMS solutions. TYPO3 is something like me and Sanjay are like totally in love with the CMS. Okay, when we started working in 2011, it was just like a selection round or kind of thing that which could be the better platform for us to start our business. So at that moment, we started working in TYPO3 just like as a CMS, just as a platform. But then later we start falling into love, and we identified that TYPO3 really is kind of CMS, so better than the other, like here in India, WordPress, Joomla are the very well popular CMS here. But the thing which really suits in the kind of definition of TYPO3, that was the C. Okay. So since 2011, we started working on TYPO3, and very soon we are going to turn into a 10 years old company.
wow.
Okay. Wow. So in February 2021, it's going to be turned into 10.
Okay.
So during this 10 years of journey, we work on many TYPO3 projects. Go Himalaya was the favorite projects we have developed for the Indian customer. Recently it's a T3 terminal we launched in the last year. We can say it's a first ever kind of marketplace or kind of platform for the buyers and sellers of for any kind of TYPO3 resources, extensions, platforms, ready-made template, just one click away kind of things. Download, install, and you will go live with the ready-made things. Regarding this, about my personal life, I am married and I have a beautiful wife, and also have a small kid of 3 years. He's very naughty, and it's like just like every a family person. I love my family and my children. For years, the town we belongs to is very small, considering the metro and other well-developed city. But still, I have a very good team here in my company. We are almost at 25 people in our team, almost like 12 plus TYPO3 developers here. And you can consider that we belongs to a very small town, although we have achieved a very good milestone in TYPO3 and consider the web solutions. We won the best TYPO3 awards in 2018. We are a silver member in TYPO3 Association. solution partner in TYPO3 GmbH. I have 2 certified members in my TYPO3 team, and last year, not 2020, 2029, we organized a TYPO3 sprint in India. Mr. Thomas and Stefan was the one who attended this event, and it was really a great event we have executed to go there here in India.
Right.
So yeah, this is a small introduction of myself.
A lot of stuff that we have learned from you now. I hope that Stevo can also give us some insights of what he's doing and where he is at. And so go ahead, Stevo.
Will do. Sure. Thanks, Olivier. I'm Stevo O'Rourke, and from Wellington in New Zealand, which is possibly a little bit further away than Melbourne, where Simon is, but than most of you guys. But we are a very small city, 400,000 kind of people in 3 cities. We're a very small country with a population less than 5 million. We have a small agency in Wellington. So we don't just do web development, we make video, we do brand work, design work, print and strategy. But saying that, I've had a very long TYPO3 journey, starting in about 2002, I think. Back in the days when you could email Casper and he would reply.
Okay.
So it's a very long
time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. And it was really, we were looking for a content management system for a website that had 3,000 pages of content. There wasn't really anything that would work for back-end editors or people who weren't technical to be able to use their website. And TYPO3 back then was really advanced for that area, and still seems to be, actually, in my opinion. I think it's for the people who end up having to use it on a day-to-day basis, not necessarily the developers. It's a very good product. So that's our potted history. I'm sure you ask more questions about some of the projects.
In regards, I mean, you said you how did you see, or how you do you perceive the product, the evolution of the product, let's say within, I mean, you've been part of the very first time, you know, if you say, okay, there was Casper still around, so that's really the beginning of TYPO3, I think, and maybe you can tell us a little bit how you use, how is your perception of the product nowadays? So
I'm not a developer, very important to mention that. So my perception is probably different to the perception of some of my team. And I know that there's definitely what we call it the TYPO3 learning curve. And it takes, we think it's 3 months, and then you're away with TYPO3 and happy using it. I've got a couple of my team on the chat now looking, so I'm sure I'll get told if that's the truth. But in terms of the back end experience, I think it just kicks the ass out of other machines, other CMSs. WordPress, we don't consider that to be a CMS. It's just very clunky. I love the way that TYPO3 has actually held true to its kind of design roots, and its back-end layout hasn't really effectively changed, but through simple changes has become more usable for the editors. The amount of configurability for those back-end editors, so we can have someone log in and just have one page and just have one button, and that's the only thing they need to be able to do. I know that you can achieve that in other systems, but out of the box, it's not that easy anywhere in any other system. And we've done some development in Drupal. We've looked a little bit at WordPress, and that's sometimes forced to use that because clients insist on it. In New Zealand, we have a product called Silver Stripe, which is an open source CMS that's been adopted by government. So Silver Stripe's kind of one of the areas that to do government work you really have to be in. But we still try and push people away from all of those products and get them to use TYPO3.
Yeah, I will ask later more questions about like the market and the country, stuff like that. So please keep that. Now, Simon, tell us something about yourself and how you got into TYPO3 and what you're currently doing, and I'm pretty curious.
Okay, so I'm Simon Dawes. I run an agency called Cerebrum here in Melbourne. It's a small digital agency. We've kind of worked on a partnership model rather than bringing everyone in-house. We like to work with other people. It's part of our culture, and we love to share and learn. Similar to Stevo, we started in 2002 as a business, so we're fast approaching 20 years of development work. Prior to that, I worked in a corporate communications company in digital lead, so doing a lot of digital production, hand-coded websites and stuff like that. For us, the journey with TYPO3 started, I think the first version I can remember installing was 3.5. So it was in that early 2000s sort of period. And we came to it because we had a client who'd taken up a closed source CMS that just wouldn't do what they wanted. And we went through the process of testing Midgard and Joomla and all sorts of things, and went, TYPO3 looks to be the best and looks to have the biggest future. And I think that journey is really suited as well. As it's evolved and grown, we've built over that time an enormous number of sites, from really simple sites to really sophisticated. I think the biggest one we did was for Fuji Digital. Not in terms of pages, but 400 or 500 galleries, 750,000 page views a month, sort of large scale TYPO3. And then we move into much more sophisticated, what we call portal developments in TYPO3 we're doing now, where we're actually using TYPO3 to integrate with ERP systems and build tools for our clients, but have that stuff. That said, we still do a lot of regular content managed websites as well. Oh. We love it. The journey has been extensive. A bit like Stevo, I'm not a developer, but I get my hands dirty quite often. Drive developers insane. And I've loved the journey for me with TYPO3 as it's evolved. The current move to Composer frustrates me at some days, and I adore it at other days. So, what I really love about TYPO3 is that constant evolution to improve and make it better. The PSR 14 stuff that's come through, we've just re-architected a whole lot of APIs. That stuff has become so easy for our developers. It just makes sense to them. It's a really nice product for us, and we see it being a strong part of our work. We are a bit forced, like Stevo. WordPress is pretty popular with a lot of our corporate clients. Government clients here are pushing Drupal, which drives us insane. We still pitch big TYPO3 sites to government organisations because we still think it's a better platform. And occasionally we win the argument, and often we lose it. But you've got to give it a go. Okay, all right. So I understood that you're kind of a small company, but that is used to collaborate with others, so specialists and stuff like that. We all know how this works. So you've given me a very good first info about the background and so on. I'm wondering, and this is a question. I will unmute you, Nitin, because I will ask the question to you, and then maybe Simon can answer. So how's collaboration going? I mean, you are now 3 companies that we have chosen because you were visible for us. So what we don't know is how many other companies are doing TYPO3, and in India, for example. Can you tell us a little bit about it, Nitin? And can you tell us a little bit about maybe how you interact with them and what kind of conversations you have with those other companies?
Right. So it's really a good question, first of all. Okay. The thing is that nowadays in India, it's like the IT market is growing up. Okay. Especially in concept to the CMS one. In concept to the market share, TYPO3 compared to the TYPO3 other CMS like WordPress, Joomla has a very good market share in the total market share. So the thing is that TYPO3 we have like 100 of agency according to my calculations. There 100 of agencies in India are there who is working. They are delivering their solutions in TYPO3. In somewhat they are like more not that much organized. Like have a kind of associations, a kind of group things. What we are generally doing that we are approaching them to have a kind of collaboration so we can spread TYPO3 more in India, especially in the development area, especially in at the universities, colleges also, people getting aware about that. Okay, that's the one stage of marketing and to our spread the awareness of TYPO3. The other thing is like we are doing a kind of a collaborations in concept of the projects whenever they kind of a need, when we need some more experts, more team members, so it's like going to be a joint development with other agencies kind of thing. And same, they are also approaching to us for the same purpose. So let's do something, let's build something together which is going to be helpful to the customers as well and to the community as well. So it's now it's like it's still in an initial, it's a basic phase as the movement, but it's growing. People are getting interested into it. So how the company's been working, how they are really dealing with it. They are starting slowly, they are starting getting interested with the TYPO3. Okay. So the same way, the other agencies we have in collaborations, they are the especially is considering to other things, they are not that much active in considering the community events on the awareness. But now slowly we started communicating with them, not only for the business, for the ecosystem purpose, but also to get the awareness of the TYPO3 organizing. We are visiting other different events in our town, in our other IT factors as well, getting into touch with them, something like initiating kind of brainstorming things we have had with them. So it's something which is like really starting an initial phase. Okay, people are getting interested into it, and we are very much hopeful for the same, that more and more companies will join the hand with us, and we will create a better, clear picture of TYPO3 in India. Okay.
What I have seen is what you're doing, Nitin, is that you have hosted a lot of user groups, and you also contributed to the TYPO3.in website in Hindi.
Yes.
So how was the reception? How was the echo from the Indian community towards that?
Yeah. First of all, talk about the ITUG. We call it ITUG. It's TYPO3 India User Group. Okay, it's something we generally organize in the weekends. Someone interested, students, either someone loves the TYPO3 or some just want to know what TYPO3 exactly. It's like a kind of a quarterly or monthly meeting, so kind of meetups we organizing in our local office. People come to us visiting here, that how it is TYPO3. We are showcasing the projects, the backend. We are getting into over with them. So this is kind of, initially when you start, it was just like my team who were really working on projects. Initially when we started this group, there were only a few people attending. Now the numbers are really getting increasing. Okay, people are getting started interested into it. They really want to join us. They want to know what TYPO3 is. They are getting interested into the features of that. And now the companies, the user, they are also approaching to end customers. So let's start using. Why not the let's see about the CMS. Why not the TYPO3 is? And now talk about the TYPO3 Hindi. This was really enjoying project for us, because my team has worked on translating the sentences was in German or the English. And so you can see that it's Hindi is our local language here, and when you see something in your local language, it's a hello instead of namaste, so it feels like a kind of a thrill to you. Okay, oh wow, my language is there. And this was the Hindi was really highly praised from the community as well, especially the Indian community. They were thrilled, they really excited to see it was there. And from the Hindi, the Nitsan was there, my team, my friends, fellows were really happy to see that Hindi is there. And in fact, something where there was a language barrier, so Hindi was there to help them to understand what TYPO3 is. Something like it was previously the community was in Germany, or it's either it's English. Someone found this really helpful to them to understand what TYPO3 is. So it was really good for us to develop, to translate as well, and was really helpful to others as well, especially the Indian community. We got a really good appreciations, compliments from around my fellows, friends, the other companies we have been working with them.
Excellent. Stevo, how's the community in New Zealand? Are you alone?
I think we're alone. Yeah, I think the community...
What could you do to change that?
Oh, it's interesting hearing what Nitin...
And how could we help you maybe to do that?
Yeah, yeah, there's a few things. We've had this conversation before. We've had some members of the TYPO3 community who've been traveling through New Zealand come and see us. And as always, it's a real challenge. We are a long, long way away, both physically, but also a big time barrier, 12 to 13 hours, depending on the time of year. I think the TYPO3 community in our country might be the 6 developers who sit around the desks in our office. It may be a little bit bigger. I think there's probably some other companies that have TYPO3 experience if they have to. And I know there was a company, we did find one, we were looking for them. And I'm very interested to see what Matthias talks about in a session, I think at 8 o'clock in a few hours or 12 hours time or so, because he's talking about building competition. Mm-hmm. And for us, competition is essential. We have lost projects that we've pitched in TYPO3 because of that question of continuity. What if Ocular shuts down? What if we're not there? Then who can pick up our project? And without having competition, it's a very difficult sell. And you'll have this, Simon, as well. You know, if Drupal's the one that's used there, they know, hey, some other agency can take it on and pick it up. We make the argument, hey, look, it's open source. There's a massive community worldwide. That means anyone can learn it and do it. It's not closed. And sometimes we win, but very rarely do we win. Yeah.
Have you considered to just walk, as you were saying, we're part of, okay, let me just rephrase it. There were many mentions of other open source content management systems. I think, personally, the more the better, right? So we all know that each CMS has its audience, has its use cases, and I think we should consider them friends, right? And so we should like not say, oh, TYPO3 is better because of, and then, you know, this and this, or because of that. I think we should really look at where at the end the industry is going and what customers want to have, and concentrate on that and to adapt. So I think you cannot just say, oh, we'll just blame the guys for choosing X, Y, Z. So and so on. So I think my suggestion that I would give to you, maybe that's a little bit of a hacky or hacky suggestion. How about looking up if there's a WordPress or like a Drupal user group where you could go to regularly? You know, that's like kind of a secret agent technique that you would be doing, like agent, you're sneaking into that community, and then one day offering them a presentation about TYPO3 and so on and so forth. Because just, everybody likes to drive a Mercedes, but driving a Mercedes AMG is maybe a little bit better. So sometimes you have to make things, and I'm not getting paid from Mercedes for saying that. So my suggestion is actually that you or go and visit other communities, and start to see yourselves as part of that large open source CMS community. And TYPO3 is within the 12 biggest CMSs in the world, right? That Google is telling us, hey, you need to talk to us. We need to talk to you. Please come over. Please do this, please do that. We don't need to hide ourselves. And on the other side, you don't need to tell my bigger German brother. They know how to do it. I think you're doing pretty well, and you've been standing in the waves for many years. So I think, but that would be my suggestion. Does it make sense?
It does, and we've broken the back. When I first started out, we actually had to sell open source as a concept. That was a challenge in itself. People wanted a Microsoft product. They didn't want something that 10,000 developers working on a product. How safe can that be? And so I feel that ship has sailed as well. We're fine in that space now. People expect open source as a solution, and quite often what we pitch now is a solution that's system agnostic. So we pitch a solution. This is what we'll do for you. We'll work through some requirements. Should we win this work, and we'll choose the best system for you. And so that's a way around that. But you're right about other developers. I mean, we're a very small city. You know, most of the other companies we can go and have a beer with. So we are intending, we've just moved actually from our beach location right into the city. So we'll be running quite a few events over the next few years. And we're intending, hopefully can get some of you guys along to speak at some of those events. That would be great. If not physically, then
yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
Even if it would be pre-recorded or something like that, but let's see on how we can create some sustainable traction. I mean, it's not about firing fireworks and poof, that's it. I think we all know how things work. You have to build up the relationship with others. You have to have sincere conversations. People need to know about your motives and so on. And I think that's pretty nice. Simon, Australia. What should we know about the Australian ecosystem, or what's going on in Australia? I mean, we've seen that China is stopping buying coal from Australia, and we see that well, I don't know, nobody's drinking Australian red wine anymore. But no, just kidding. Let me know what's your take on community building or on the competitive landscape, collaboration, stuff like that.
Okay, so a little bit like Stevo, TYPO3 doesn't have a big public presence here. There are, and we've come across agencies that have significant number of TYPO3 sites, but they don't tout the fact that it's a TYPO3. They tout the solution. And so often it's below the surface here. We have run a TYPO3 user group here in Melbourne over 3 or 4 years in the past, and sort of got to the point where the same people, us, were turning up. We kind of ran out of energy for that. But this sort of activity reinvigorates that kind of desire a little bit to make it a bit more public and to get out there. We used to go along to Linux user groups and things like that, which were kind of aligned to that kind of model. Again, we tend to sell the solution, not the platform these days. You know, I'm about to submit a very large tender at the moment. We meet all the requirements, and it's only 3 lines that say that we're going to use TYPO3 in that tender specifically, only because we have to outline the platforms. But the solution is what we're selling predominantly here most of the time these days, to get around the fact that people go, well, I want WordPress or I want Drupal or whatever. We go, well, let's actually choose the right platform. We make that part of the initial consultancy.
And that seems to be a viable strategy. That's something that I have also observed from visiting, let's say, I mean, in the German, in the core thing, you know, the German super duper island of the happy guys, right? So you just need to put a sign, very small sign on the Autobahn or on the streets that you're doing TYPO3, everybody's swamping you, right? So that makes it easier maybe for those agencies just to hide behind the product, right? What I have observed from visiting other countries like France or Spain or Italy is that agencies there are concentrating on the actual value or on the actual work that they're doing. You're telling, okay, we're selling a solution, and TYPO3 is part of the solution. I think that's a pretty good strategy. So I think for everyone who's not in the core or not in the DACH region, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland, it's a pretty good strategy to concentrate on what you actually want to achieve with TYPO3. Not to say, oh, TYPO3 can do 500 features. Nobody's going to check that, and I think people will only need 5 features out of that for their use case. That's maybe one tip that we can give to the audience, is that if you're somewhere starting with TYPO3, yes, have some facts about TYPO3, but then concentrate on what you can achieve and what you can bring to your customer. And we will see later today also on how you can model that relationship to a customer, so that you don't end up working hours and hours and hours picking up maybe how to do stuff and so on. Right. Okay. So I have prepared some questions that I sent you. So basically, I was like kind of asking for yeah, the CMS market in your country. So you told me, you already told me that there's some specialities for like what was the name of the Microsoft CMS front page? No, Silverware or Silver Bullet?
Silver Stripe.
Yeah. Silver Stripe. Yes. When was that I've heard this the last time? So that's really interesting that in countries there tends to be some kind of a niche thing that ends up being used by many people. That's really funny. All right. Where was I? Okay, we all right. So I would like to find out how you see the opportunities that TYPO3 is creating. That means let's say every time, what you observe? I mean, we know that TYPO3 has come to have a very good release cycle that you can count on. I mean, every 18 months, that's really a short release cycle. Others take sometimes longer. We have a good way to maintain those releases with official support and bug fix and security releases, and we have also that excellent additional extension of the long-term support. So what does this do to the projects that you are offering? Is this something that customers like to start with? Simon, for an answer like that. And I also want to do one remark. You're working with Michael Shams, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that that thing, because I guess that's also something quite extraordinary that you're doing. But what is your take?
So for us, we generally package hosting with our projects for most of our clients, and included in that is maintenance of the platform, both the server and the TYPO3 platform. So we package upgrade as part of the path as a general rule. So the release strategy for TYPO3 is both good and a stretch for us at times. I think it's improving as the update process, and I'm really excited to see the 11 step going. We're really interested in making the upgrade from 9 and 10 much more thorough, because we tend to, nearly every site we have has some customization in it. So there'll be a custom extension or two, and we just need to keep in front of that curve all the time for our clients. But having said that, when I can go to a client, here is the long-term release strategy, and you can see that there's a roadmap in the future. They really like that model, so that they go, there's comfort in that, that it is going to be around, and it's a stable process forward. We don't have any clients that use the extended long-term release process here. And I think that's partly because we sell them on the idea of doing an update as a better option for them anyway.
Okay.
So yeah, so that's the sort of the release strategy. That thing. And I don't know whether it answers your question or not, but the other thing that we find our clients really like is the attitude of TYPO3 to improvement and security. We sell the benefits of TYPO3 that we really sell is its security and its stability. It's unlike WordPress, where you just do the update and you hope like hell, and it doesn't often break, but it does occasionally. So there's some work to be done for the update. But that whole security model and the attitude of going, we really want to use best practice in what we do, is something that our corporate clients really like. Our average content management website, or SME probably isn't thinking about that until we talk to them about it. So we're often selling the benefits of TYPO3 as stable, really well-founded, really secure. We can look after you for as long as you want. We've got clients that we built their first site 14 years ago. We've upgraded that through the 14-year cycle, it's still there. They love it. It does the job. Yes, it's been rescun, I don't know, half a dozen times, but the core of it is the same. They love it. Their editors just, we train a new set of editors every 2 years as they come on board, and away they go. So, that's a good story for us to those clients, if that kind of goes to your question.
That sounds like an excellent case study that we could work on and have also like a testimonial, because I think other customers are convinced by such sales. I mean, you're pretty good salesman, and it seems to me. So that's from the impressions that I get. So I would actually go and do my website with you if I would be a company. So I pretty like that. Stevo, what is your take on opportunities? I mean,
So for the bigger clients who we pitch to, yes, definitely having a roadmap, definitely having a community, having a vendor level SLA is pretty unusual for an open source project. A company that backs things up. We don't have anyone who's taken up the long-term support option, although we do have a few people who should. Again, like Simon, we're trying to convince them the upgrade is essential. So we've been working on our systems around that just to make sure we've got a lot of small clients, but also some larger ones, and we're transitioning to those larger clients. Just at the nature of being in business for a long time, that again, like Simon, I think we've got some clients who started on version 3 and are now in version 9 and about to go version 10. So they've been with us a long time. And Simon, you'll probably find those editors who go away act as advocates for TYPO3 when they go into other businesses. So we do get a lot of business from referral from people who've used the system before as back-end users. So I think the stability that the TYPO3 website, it had a major upgrade about 4 or 5 years ago, and it just looked, separating to typo3.com, it just looks good. If you send a client who's not sure about it to that site, I think what they see there fills them with quite a lot of confidence. So it makes the job of selling a system a lot easier.
Oh, that's a pretty good feedback. Thanks for that. I think people in the back will appreciate that the effort that they have done by separating the org and com and making sure that there's a commercial entity that is able to do the service level agreements and also acts as let's say as an agent for those who want to speak, who want to also enter the community and are fearing a little bit the anarchistic, chaotic community drive that sometimes open source communities have. So I think that's thanks a lot. Nitin, we know that India is how you call it, is well known for being a service-oriented community and society, and so what are the opportunities that TYPO3 has created for you? I would assume, as I have understood, you have your Indian customers, but you also have international customers. And can you tell us a little bit about how you have managed with TYPO3 to get into relationships with such customers, and what was the opportunity that was created there for you? And
basically, I agree with you on that point that the TYPO3 IT industries is mostly belongs to the services, providing services, and compared to the certified solutions, or as I say, it's more depend on the open source solutions, especially in services. Okay, so in consider the TYPO3, it's like the CMS market is really going on up. That's an important thing, and how we are dealing, how pitching with our customers for the like major regular upgrades, or how we make sure them that the TYPO3 is going to be a right choice for them. It's about not only to let them realize the features of TYPO. It's not something like maybe let's say some not technical person is there, your customer is there. What will do? What we them pitch that TYPO is something which is highly sustainable. It's highly secure, And the one thing is, it fits best fit for the small website to the enterprise level of solutions as well. Whatever you have, you can have a regular long-term support users. It's not something like there is no one in the backbone of the TYPO3. There's a very good team, a community is there. It's not like this small time of a shining star. It's like a long-lasting one. Okay, so the same in last couple of months ago, we have just upgraded one of the biggest our projects of the TYPO3. It has almost, I think, 25 of the domains, 5 to 6 were the languages, and millions of the records were there. So is it something like they feel comfortable to get it upgrade to the TYPO3 That was the current LS2 version. So they found it happy there, and they found it's really promising what they have made the decision at the couple of years ago to choosing the TYPO3. So this is going to be impeccable to the customers to the overseas. Now let's talk about the Indian customers. A few couple of years ago, we have developed a portal, a tourism portal. It's named the GoHimalayan.com. It's about the Himalayan tourism. We know the Himalayan, it's a mountain range here in the North India. So the purpose of the project was to have the events, the celebrations, so the trekking, the tourism of the Himalayan region. So at that time, I mean, just 2 or 3 years ago, the customer wasn't even aware about what TYPO3 is. Even he has his mind in the WordPress or other CMS was there, but we made him convinced that TYPO3 is the kind of CMS. It's not about the comparing which one is the better, but which is about which one is the suit for your requirement, which one is the suitable for the expansion, which one has the long-term support. Then I think weekly we do the upgrades of 3 or 4 times yearly on that particular website. So he's happy as well, and we are like made sure about our promise that it's going to be a secure for you, a regular measure, and there is no kind of a downtime for the same. So for the same, we have like in our in office, we have created a separate team for the TYPO3 upgrade, just because we have a regular upgrades, and the system is getting better on time. Okay, we have if I talk about the 2020, I can share that we have upgraded almost 40 plus of a good level of websites in TYPO3. So this is now people getting interested in it. They are really find that TYPO3 is not like just a one-time solution. It's long-lasting. Okay, it provides whatever you have a need. Yeah, it's a secure, it's a sustainable. Either it's a technical person or not. The backend is very much easy to you to manage. For particularly talk about the templating, whatever kind of templates complex you have, it's going to be easy for you to manage it. So something like the regular LS2 version, either it's talk about the Indian community, it starts like growing. They build their interest, and they are also praising us to make them to really choose a TYPO3 compared to the other CMSs.
All right. So I'm looking a little bit on my timer here. We have another 12 minutes to go, and there's so many questions that I still have. I've sent them to you, and there's some really ridiculous questions on that list. So maybe we can take one question from the audience, from the Thomas Maroschik, who's the core developer, and he's asking one of you, how is the perception of open source in your country? Is it rather popular, or are companies, organizations striving for vendors that are liable? I think maybe who feels who can answer that question? Simon, I see that you're taking some air.
Yeah, so I think I can speak to that a little bit. Open source is really strong in Australia in general, across the board. What's interesting to me is we do quite a bit of government tender, and when you tender with an open source product, there's a different section of the terms and conditions that you have to comply with, which makes me smile every time I see it. They're open to it, but they seem to have a leaning which is being pushed out of them, I think, towards some of the bigger vendors that provide the SLAs and what they perceive as a more secure, ongoing, and when I say secure, not in the sense of more stable and long-lasting sort of vendors is their kind of the push I see. But when I talk to anybody here in Australia and talk about open source, it's very very well accepted in general. So yeah, and I think that whole Microsoft
basically what I know, what I understand is there's a moment in time when let's say you sell a solution to your customer, and this solution is open source, and there's then one moment when the customers realize, hey, I'm part of that community. So, well, often customers, they say, oh, I want my agency to be my proxy, and so on. So I think that's something also maybe 85 to 90% of customers are doing. They're just proxying and delegating the relationship to the product and to the community to the agency. So, I wonder if we will get to a point when end customers of the product will understand, okay, I need to be part of the community so that I influence it. I can give a more direct feedback. Not that agencies are not giving feedback from the projects, but I think it would be a good perspective for us as TYPO3 community, that we would actually offer those people an area to land, an area to where they can see, okay, I can speak to others, I can speak on. I see that we have this in the academic area of our memberships, like, you know, with the universities, they have already their own work groups and places to go. But I would be curious about if this would be an approach actually to help you with these anti-patterns that often people are doing, because they prefer this vendor, you know, that invites them for going to play the golf. And by the way, I could go play golf with every of your clients if they like to. So I'm a lousy golfer, but I'm pretty, I think, pretty comfortable to walk around on the green, so I know where to go. What do you think, Stevo? Would this be something that would work if we would say, okay, there's a membership especially for end users, or maybe with some perks and a special mailing list or whatever?
Potentially, I think potentially something like a discourse forum. You know, I think that one of the big things when we started out with TYPO3 from a dev perspective was getting information in the forums. We trolled those forums and mailing lists as they were back then. And I wonder if some of the end users here would benefit from that. It would be amazing to do some UX experience work with those end users, just to get them to make how easy TYPO3 is to use, because that's the key selling point for a lot of our clients. I'll be honest, most of them, even logged in, probably don't know they're using TYPO3. They just have a solution that's on their desk. It's maybe one of 10 solutions they have to log into every day. And does it work? Yes. If it doesn't work, then they just get in touch with us quickly, and they go, that bit of software. Quite often it's not even us, it'll be another vendor or another piece of software that's broken. They don't know the difference. I think with TYPO3, the question about, you know, the mainstream providers, you know, the Microsofts of the world and the Oracles of the world. Look, with the most recent project we've done connects to Microsoft Dynamics. You know, it's got APIs all the way through. The TYPO3 is the public portal for that. It connects to Auth0. It connects to a whole bunch of different tools, third-party cloud tools, but TYPO3 is the engine room that brings everything together. So it plays nicely with all that stuff. So I think that you know, open source versus, you know, commercial company or closed source or proprietary, I think as long as it provides a solution, it's not an argument that you have to have anymore.
All right, excellent. Thanks for that answer. So I would have one question in regards of the challenges that you're facing. So Nitin, maybe you can tell us a little bit about challenges in regards of not convincing customers, but let's say, what I have understood with your company has 25 employees, and how difficult is it to get new employees in?
In concept of the team, the challenging thing for us is like to get the TYPO3 trained resources. Okay, that's the biggest challenge for us. So after playing or doing some experiment with hiring and recruiting, at the moment we come to a conclusion that let's choose the interns, the freshers, And we have started a kind of education or a training programs here in our insights. We are recruiting the freshers, interns. We have at least 3 to 4 months of the training session, a well-established training, whole training process. So it's a core PHP to the latest TYPO3 versions. We are running a kind of a complete training program, and that's how we are increasing our team. We basically divided our training in 2 phases. The first one is a templating training. The second one is like action based training. So based on the response, the echo from the selected, the recruited people, we move them to the particular field. Either it's going with is an integrator or is as a developer. And that's personally, we feel that's the biggest challenge here in the town we are living. So instead of, we never had a chance to get a TYPO3 trained or TYPO3 knowledge persons. That's how we are working here. We are recruiting freshers, and that's how we increase the team. In fact, we started working as learning, and from the online courses or something, and some documentations, and that's how it's been working. And from the same thing, I also do agree that we also learn lots of things, that what exactly people missing there as a TYPO3 service provider and as a user as well. Okay, this is what I have identified in my 8 to 10 years of journey working with TYPO3. But we are hopeful as well that now the TYPO3 is very well known in our town, at least, because we are the one has the biggest agency working on a TYPO3 one. So people are students, interns getting interested to join our team, and they found it's really challenging for them, opportunity that we are providing kind of good platform for them as well. So yeah, that was our big challenge, and it's I can say that we found a solution after all that.
Excellent. So we're nearly at the end of this session, and I would like to close with one question for each of you. So I would start with Stevo. What is the advice that you would give to newcomers to our community?
That the online, a lot of forums, there's a lot of useful information, but the main thing is you can actually ask people questions and someone replies. I think the TYPO3 community, there's people out there who care, passionate, and they'll reply. So ask for help, don't give up. And that would be my best TYPO3. There's a learning curve, but it's really worth it.
Excellent. So my next question would be to Simon. Imagine you could make a wish come true for TYPO3. I think that's maybe a wish that we can fulfill, but what would this wish be?
So a wish for TYPO3. I think part of this whole conference that you're doing is that it is visible worldwide. Would be my greatest wish. It's a fantastic product. It frustrates me that it's not visible here in Australia as strong as it should be. I'm assuming that's the same in New Zealand and Africa and South America. And my wish is that its profile and its deserved recognition comes to be.
Excellent. So now the last question is for you, Nitin. I have called it the lonely island question. So
yeah, I received your question.
Because what we've learned now is that you're all kind of a lonely island. So imagine you would strand on a lonely island, and what would you like to have in your suitcase? And maybe the suitcase could be TYPO3. So what do you think needs to go into that suitcase?
The suitcase must be a TYPO3 suitcase. Yeah.
Yes. But let's say normally you strand, you end up on an island and you never wanted to go there because your airplane crashed and stuff like that. So let's not do it dramatic. Let's say you are able to go to a very nice island with internet. TYPO3 would be the suitcase you take with you. So what should TYPO3 have in the suitcase? toothbrush and stuff like that.
Well, if I lost in an island, then I think because I watched the Castaway movie very well, so I know that what are the necessary things people need to take care when he or she lost in an island. I think a number of beer cans with me, of course, the best reading books. So books and beer will be with me, and only the one who lost in this island. So I think I will enjoy myself reading the wonderful books I really like, and the beer cans. That's going to be the enough for me in this lost island. I wanted to enjoy myself with me. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. That means that. Well, if you're on an island, you're not thinking of TYPO3, so
I
that's
can't
good.
see I can't see any possibilities to think about the island, because you have to think about surviving yourself whenever you live on TYPO3.
Yeah, excellent. So, guys, I would really like to thank you for joining us. I hope that we will keep the conversation going throughout the day. I would assume that it's late in the night in New Zealand and in Australia. For those who are celebrating Christmas time, all the best. Take care. Lots of gifts under the tree. And for you, Nitin, also some nice days. I hope that you can take some days off and relax on your island.
Of course.
I sent you some cans. If I
some
can,
drop boxes. Supplies.
Virtual beer, right?
Thanks,
all
Olivier.
right. So yeah.
Very nice.
All right. Thanks a lot. Roxana, if you like to close the session.
Thank you very much, everyone. It was a nice conversation with all of you.
Thank you.
Please take care of
the audience.
Bye-bye.